All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
This is the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Good morning. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with my husband, fellow realtor, Pat Devaney.
Morning, Jackie. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Very good.
We have with us Maurice Gardner, Senior Civil Engineer with Pennsylvania DEP for the second week in a row. Good morning, Maurice.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Calling in from Wilkes-Barre again, right?
Yepper.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where we discuss real estate. We have a full-time real estate office with many experienced realtors. We have been guiding, assisting, and advising clients in real estate matters for 50 years.
Yes, during the week, if you have any questions, feel free to email them to questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com. Or you can give us a call, 570-344-6724. And when you're at jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab, and you can see what's going on at Dunmore Corners, day or night.
View our listings, search the MLS listings, and listen to archive radio shows by going to mobile-friendly jruddy.com, jruddy.com, and check us out on social media. Also, our radio shows are offered on most popular podcast apps. If podcasts are your thing, go to your favorite podcast app, put in the Real Estate Roundtable with Jackie Ruddy, and we should come up, or go to jruddy.com and the radio tab, and you'll see all the podcast apps. Maurice Gardner, Senior Civil Engineer with Pennsylvania DEP. Just a little brief overview of who you are, what you do, please.
Hi, Jackie. Basically, as you said, I'm a senior civil engineer with district mining operations under DEP. I work with the Mine Subsidence Insurance Program as a subsidence investigator. I investigate all of their damage claims that are submitted in the anthracite region, as well as completing pre-policy inspections for applications that are applying for insurance.
So last week we talked about we are in the Northeast is the anthracite region, and there's a very low percentage of people who actually carry mine subsidence insurance, but it's a really good idea. And
it's really cheap.
And it's very inexpensive compared to other insurance, like flood insurance, which is astronomical in my opinion. So very low percentage of people, but it seems to be a no-brainer for me, at least. But let's talk about what's covered. So we have a policy on our house. Are all our outbuildings, our sheds, our garages, our pools, our fences, our patios, our decks, are they covered?
There's a little bit to that. I'll explain here. When you get subsidence insurance coverage on your home, that covers your home, and if your garage is attached to the home, it is covered. If it is detached, that would be a separate structure, and you would apply for a separate policy on that building. Any outbuildings that are not attached to the structure would be a separate policy.
What if it's connected?
What if it's connected, like with a breezeway?
We don't really have
that's considered attached. If the structure is attached one to the other, if there's a roof over that breezeway, then it is attached.
Yeah.
But the breezeway doesn't have walls.
But the roof goes from the house to the garage.
Okay. All right.
Yep. If the roof is connecting it, then it would be considered attached. If there's an open space with nothing attaching it, then it would be a separate building.
So the shed is separate.
Yes.
And that would need its own policy.
Yes. To have an insurable structure, you need the walls and a roof and some kind of foundation attaching it to the ground. Whether it's a concrete slab, poles, whatever style it is, that it's considered an insurable structure at that.
So what if a structure was already damaged, and then they want to take out insurance?
If a structure is already damaged, we try to do as much as we can to help. It depends on the severity of the damage. There's a couple ways we can do it. We would look at this structure. If we were in the anthracite region, I would be the one personally coming out to evaluate it.
Oh, what do you like for lunch? Because I'm going to buy you lunch if you're coming out to look at my building. Maybe we could go out for a few drinks before too, or something.
No,
I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Regardless of the situation, I would schedule to come out and take a look at the building. What we would do is a lot of times if there is damage to a building, if it's not that significant, we would do what's called a damage exclusion statement. Just basically listing, say if a house was out of plumber level at the start of a policy, which up in this area, a lot of older homes, stone foundations, those things happen. We would note that the structure is out of plumbing level at the start of the policy and send the homeowner a document that they would sign, basically saying that the homeowner and subsidence insurance is aware the structure is out of plumb at the start of the policy. And if there were to be future damage to the structure, we would not be responsible to re-level the home. We would only be responsible to take it back to its existing condition. If there was significant foundation damage, what we could do also is do a repair estimate to repair the damage that's actually done to the home, and then that would be deducted from your policy total. So say if you had $100,000 insurance that you were applying for, and I came out and we did an estimate to repair the home, and there was $30,000 damage to the home right now, then that $30,000 would be deducted from your coverage. The only time generally is if a structure is damaged beyond repair, as far as if the repair would exceed the policy limit on the structure, then it would be deemed not insurable. Or if there is an active subsidence. If you have a subsidence open up and it is currently impacting your structure, then the building would not be insurable at that time until we deem that there was no more movement continuing, and then we would come in and do that evaluation after that point.
Are there signs that pop up that make somebody aware that there's problems on the property, saying the yard is like an indentation of some sort, an opening, and
crack in the driveway?
Yeah, generally, mine subsidence is something that happens pretty quickly.
Oh.
It's ultimately the failure of the roof of the mine to support the ground above it, and that roof is made up of rock. Okay, and when rock fails, it doesn't bend and flex and slowly go down. Rock shears and snaps and breaks. So when that happens, generally within 48 hours of that happening, you're going to see 90% of the damage from mine subsidence. It doesn't really give warning signs. And that 48 hours, that it would be more so in a deeper cover situation where you were exceeding 60 to 80 feet or beyond, 100, 150, 200 feet of cover between the mine and the ground surface. It may take 48 hours for that to propagate to the surface where you see your movement. And that would generally be under a trough subsidence, which is when you exceed right around that 50 foot below the ground mark. When you go beyond that, you won't actually see a sinkhole that were to open up. You won't physically see a hole in the ground, but you're going to get ground movement over a broad area. It may be 4 to 6 inches, 8 inches of movement only, but it'll be more like a pothole or a dish type subsidence where you may see ground cracks, stress cracks in the ground. But if an entire structure moves 4 to 8 inches, it can cause major problems with it. But it's generally going to happen relatively quickly. On the opposite end of the spectrum of that, when you have sinkholes type subsidence, that's generally when you're 50 feet or less between the mine and the ground level. When that happens, that can happen extremely quickly. I mean, sometimes within minutes, you will see the hole open up wide open. So that all really depends on where you're located above the mine. And, that's something that when we have a reported claim, that is the first thing that I get is the mining information, so I know what to expect to see on the surface. So if I go out and their mine is 200 feet below the ground and these people that called in with a problem have a large hole that opened up in their yard, that's going to point me to believe that it could be something different than a mine subsidence. It may be an old abandoned well that was in their yard that was capped off and fell in. If I look in that hole and I see it's perfectly round with stacked stone or something around the edges of it, then that'll tell me that it's, not a mine subsidence versus whether it is or is not, depending on the depth of cover that we're looking at.
Okay. So,
well, I went to your website. It's PAMSI.org, and you have some pretty dramatic pictures there. And I think it really, really illustrates everything that you were just talking about.
Absolutely. It shows the different things that can occur. And one other thing that we would like to mention as well is that if a mine water breakout were to occur from a abandoned mine, that's technically not a subsidence, but in shallow cover areas near the outcrop of a coal seam, like where the coal seam would end, or possibly where an air shaft was linked to a mine shaft or seam that below the ground, if we have heavy rains and things like that would change the mine water pool. If that mine water to break out of the surface, blow out of a hillside or an outcrop area and cause damage, that would be covered under mine subsidence insurance if it is found to be, indeed water from a mine pool.
Have you ever seen that?
That has happened several times. It's not very common. It doesn't happen nearly as much as mine subsidence, but it does occur in some cases.
Does mine subsidence insurance cover the contents of the house?
That is one thing that mine subsidence insurance does not cover is contents. We'll cover anything to do with the structure, whether it's concrete, floors, footers, walls, siding, windows, doors, drywall, flooring, anything with the structure. We just do not cover the contents. But generally, 99% of the time during a subsidence situation, contents are not lost or really damaged much in a home. It's more so the physical structure itself. And then if we were to have to come in and work on the home, we can remove contents and put them into storage while we work on the home.
Okay, so what are appurtenances?
An appurtenance would be considered your in-ground pools, not above. It has to be an in-ground. Driveways, sidewalks, concrete patios, fences, things of that nature would be considered an appurtenance.
And is that included in the policy?
That is included with the policy. There is language in our insuring agreement that explains appurtenance is covered when the structure is impacted by a mine subsidence. If there's a subsidence that is not involving the structure, then it would not be covered. But if there's a subsidence event that is impacting the structure and an appurtenance is also affected, then they will allow up to 10% of the policy limit to go towards paying for those things, such as an in-ground pool, fence, driveway, improved patios, things of that nature. And generally, when there is a subsidence, the structure is impacted as well.
Right. So how about deductible clauses? Is there one?
We actually have eliminated deductibles as we have lowered the rates over the past 10 years several times. So there are no longer deductibles. There is no longer a difference in commercial and residential rates. It is all one flat rate. There is also a 10% discount for senior citizens. So if you or anyone in the home is over the age of 65, you would receive that discount. So, if the husband and wife own a home together and one of them is 65, then they would still get that discount.
What if I identify as a 65-year-old?
You'll have to take that up with
the legal department. Okay, I'm sorry.
What if I feel like I'm 65, but I'm not really?
I feel like it all the time.
Especially in the early morning hours, right?
No
oh, my gosh. So there was
one thing with that discount, it is to if someone had multiple properties they were insuring, they would receive that discount on their primary residence where they live and any of the buildings on that property. But if they had multiple rental properties, it would not continue through to the other rental properties. It would just be for their primary residence.
Okay. I was just going to ask, can somebody who's an investor get mine subsidence on their rental properties?
Yes, absolutely. You can absolutely get as long as you are the owner of the building, you can get mine subsidence insurance on it. It's just the senior discount would apply to the
only primary. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, we're headed towards the break. Pat, would you review a listing? Before you do that, I have with us on the phone today Maurice Gardner, Senior Civil Engineer with Pennsylvania DEP. Once again, please provide the website and the contact info.
Our website is www.pamsi.org, and our toll-free number to reach by phone is 1-800-922-1678.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we have it's a large 2-unit home. It's at 1642 Dixon Avenue in Scranton for $199,000. The 1 unit, this is 1 unit of this building. It's 6 bedrooms and 3 baths, and it's currently generating $2,000 a month rent with the landlord only paying for the water. The other half of this property is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath that was previously occupied by the owner. This is perfect for the investor with taxes of less than $4,000 a year and off-street parking for 4 cars. That's a large duplex at 1642 Dixon Avenue in Scranton for $199,000, and that's listed by Tom Pawlowski of our office.
Thank you, Pat. And this is according to the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors. The vacation home market is continuing to see a huge increase in buyers, but like in most markets, inventory is limited.
My vacation home is going to be someplace warm.
Yes. According to Redfin, mortgage applications for second homes increased 84% year to year in January, representing 8 consecutive months of 80% plus year-over-year growth. In comparison, primary home mortgage applications only saw an increase of about 36% year to year in January, with a high of 65% year to year in September. I'm seeing a lot of cash purchases and no financing these days, and that goes with the second home market as well. The report also found that home prices in vacation towns saw an increase of 19% year to year in December compared to homes in non-vacation areas, which only saw a 13% increase. The trend in second home buying indicates that home buyers are mostly affluent Americans with white-collar jobs that allow them to work from home. 8 of the 10 top counties for second home purchasers are also vacation destinations and include Lake Tahoe, Cape Cod, Palm Springs, and the Jersey Shore. Where do you want to buy?
I want to be someplace warm. I'm thinking Florida. What do you think, DC? My producer says yes.
All right. Stay with the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be back after a very brief break.
Who are Century 21 agents? They're high-tech gizmo-packing problem solvers with an appetite for getting things done. They know the best places to buy a home, to sell a home, and to find antiques, if you're into that kind of thing. They're weatherproof, foolproof, and proof positive that smart people doing good work can make big things happen for great folks like you. Oh, and there's one nearby. This is who they are. This is what they do. Century 21 agents. Smarter, bolder, faster. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Hi, this is Jackie Ruddy from Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Is real estate on your mind? It's on ours 24/7. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or in need of an appraisal, you have questions, we have answers.
Thinking of buying or selling a house and have questions? Tune in to the Real Estate Roundtable hosted by locally owned and operated Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday mornings at 11:30.
Call 570-344-6724 or visit jruddy.com. That's JRUDDY.com. We're back with more Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, and with Pat Vanny, my husband, fellow realtor.
And we're back
with Maurice Gardner, Senior Civil Engineer with Pennsylvania DEP. Hello again.
Hi, Jackie. How are you?
All right. How long has the Mine Subsidence Insurance Fund been in operation, please?
The Mine Subsidence Insurance Fund has been operational since 1961, actually. That's a long time that we've been around. It's just that we try to get as many people to hear about us and find out the information to get the awareness out there for them.
And yet a small percentage of people actually have a mine subsidence insurance policy. And you've been around since 61. That's amazing to me. If you could review those stats with the listeners once again, please.
Absolutely. Since 1961, we've been in operation. There's currently only 63,126 policies in the entire state, which there's 1 million plus houses in the state that are undermined, and only 63,000 have insurance coverage. More specific to our area in the anthracite region, there's only 7,895 homes that are insured at this point. Since the start of the Mine Subsidence Insurance Fund, they have paid out $35,908,000 in total across the entire state. And in our region specifically, where we only have 7,895 policy, they have paid out $8,875,000 just in our area with 7,895 policies.
Keep it simple. How much could you break it down per $1,000 of coverage does the policy cost?
Yes, absolutely. Our policies cost approximately 55 cents for every $1,000 of coverage. So to give you an example of that, $160,000 of coverage, which is your average home of the area, replacement cost plus 20%, would be $87.50 for the entire year of coverage.
If I'm building a house or buying a house, when should I apply for insurance?
Absolutely. That's a great question. If you're building a house, you would want to apply at the time the construction is starting. Once there's a foundation and a structure with walls and roof up, it does not have to be complete inside and ready to live in. We can insure the structure at that time. Once the foundation, walls, footing, and the main structure on the footing is there, we can insure it. If you're purchasing a new home, you would want to apply at the time of your mortgage application and include your closing date on that application so we can get the inspection done before your closing date. And then at your closing date, your policy would become effective.
Very good. Okay, good advice. So,
absolutely.
What can cause damage to structures other than mine subsidence? People might automatically think it's subsidence. It may look like mine subsidence, but it might not be mine subsidence.
That's a very good question. I get a lot of that doing claim investigations for the Mine Subsidence Insurance Fund. I've had everything from people calling in, older folks that have a large groundhog hole in their flower bed, to walls that are collapsing in a house, and neither one are mine-related. Some of the main things that can cause damage to a home that would mimic or seem possible to be mine subsidence, groundwater is a big thing. If you have poor drainage around the home and a lot of water infiltrating the home, it can cause deterioration to the foundation and cause major issues. So that's definitely something, if you do have, that you want to address. Another thing would be what we call the technical term is lateral earth pressure. So if there's poor drainage along the outside of a home and the soils are saturated, they're going to cause excess pressure to be put on the wall. And a lot of times around the middle of the wall, which is the weakest point, because on the inside of the basement, there's nothing holding pressure against that wall laterally. So if you have excessive pressure on the outside and nothing to reinforce that on the inside, it can cause the wall to kick or buckle in the middle of the wall, but there's actually no downward movement from mine subsidence. Rain gutters play a big factor into that. I advise everyone to make sure that your home has rain gutters, and if your downspouts do not connect to underground piping to lead that roof water away, to make sure you extend the rain gutters at least 3 to 5 feet beyond the home. Something that people don't know about roof drainage, they don't realize the volume that comes off of a roof. For every inch of rain that we get, 1/2 gallon of water comes off per square foot of roof. So an average home in the area can have anywhere from 1,400 to 1,800 square feet of roof. So if we get an inch of rain, you could have anywhere from 700 to 1,000 gallons of water coming off of that roof. And if you don't direct that water away from your foundation and you're dumping that directly at the foundation coming from a downspout that's concentrating that, so it's not even spreading it out over the entire area of the home. You're concentrating that water into one or two focus points. That can cause significant issues with a home and a foundation, causing deterioration or failures in the walls. Something else we run into more so in older homes, the technical term for that would be more so structural fatigue. It's basically not a failure, but it is it's stress.
It's just getting old.
Exactly. Stress and age of homes. Where I see it a lot of times is in large older homes that are a lot of times double block homes. So you have a really wide foundation, and the center support beams in those homes are made of old wood. They have old wooden columns underneath the center of them, and the middle of the structure will actually start to sag. Structural fatigue basically is sagging of the structural members in the house. So the outside walls of the home may be plumb or close to it, but the center floor in the middle of the house is down a couple inches. That's something that generally is a telltale sign of that. You know, if the floor is all pitched towards the middle of the home, that it's more so a structural support issue than an actual mine subsidence failure. And it's something that we do see a lot. And, you know, can recommend some things to people about adding additional support so that those things don't get any worse or continue to cause more damage in the home. But floor sagging like that can cause drywall cracks in the walls or the ceilings or doorway openings, things like that people will notice and think that the house is actually moving, but it's not. It's more so just from the sag due to insufficient support in the center of the house, and them walking around in the house, foot traffic, you know, that kind of stuff will cause vibration and movement enough that a rigid surface like drywall or plaster can start have cracks develop and things notice of that nature.
Maurice Gardner, Senior Civil Engineer with Pennsylvania DEP. We really enjoyed our 2 weeks with you. Thank you so much for your time and help understanding all there is to mine subsidence insurance. Can we have your contact info, please?
Absolutely. Our website is www.pamsi.org, and our toll-free number to reach by phone is 1-800-922-1678.
Thanks again.
There's also one number that I would like to add for people if they have a subsidence in their yard or street that's not affecting the home, or if unfortunately they are uninsured and do have a subsidence. They can reach out to the Bureau of Abandoned Mine Reclamation here in Wilkes-Barre, the Northeast Regional Office. That number is 570-826-2371.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, Jackie.
Have a great day. So anybody out there that's getting frustrated because you're looking for a house, you're getting outbid, I want to just give you some words of consolation. I am seeing a very large amount of fall-throughs. So when there's competing offers, 4, 5, 10, and you're losing out and you're getting so upset and frustrated, hang in there, because you may get a call if you had a competing offer that that the house has become, or the property has become available again. So don't be so disheartened. I'm trying to give people hope out there, because there are a tremendous amount of fall throughs. It's like a 40 to 50% rate I'm seeing. People are acting so quickly. They're getting the bid, they're getting the house, and then they're waking up the next day and they're saying, what did I do?
What did I do? I overbid on the house. I won too much.
And then they won out. They're forfeiting deposits. So hang in there, because you just may get that call that says, hey, we're available again. And to all our listeners, and especially Pat, happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
We're out of time. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable. Remember, next Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on 94.3 FM The Talk.